20% of the 2024-2025 Premier League season is already done, with every team having played 7 games, and the Premier League table is now starting to take shape. Some teams, according to that Premier League table, fledgling as it may be, are doing really well, and some teams aren't doing particularly well. And the managers of these teams that aren't doing really well are under somewhat pressure, as it is part of the job. You If you don't do well in your job, you are bound to come under pressure or maybe even lose the job. So here are 5 managers in my reckoning, or by my reckoning, who are under pressure, having played 7 games of the 2024-2025 season. First is the obvious one, Erik ten Hag, the Manchester United manager. Now, Manchester United, the Red Devils, have made their worst start ever to a Premier League season, and their previous worst start was last season. They currently sit 14th in the Premier League table, and Erik ten Hag was last season saved by the FA Cup that he won at the expense of Manchester City in the final. Now, Erik ten Hag has spent a lot of money. Manchester United have undergone a lot of changes over recent months, and there is now proper structure at Manchester United, but Erik ten Hag seemingly is not able to do as well as the club, the fans, and the players would like. So I mean, he's bound to come under pressure. Some of the signings that he has brought in haven't worked out well. Anthony is a prime example. Andre Onana is another one. So Mason Mount. So Erik ten Hag would need to get results start as soon as possible. I mean to say, because in the last 3 games at the time of the recording, last 3 Premier League games, Manchester United have failed to you know even get on the score sheet, let alone winning games. So I mean, Erik ten Hag, he needs to maybe put, try and get the rabbit out of the magic hat. So we'll see what happens with Erik ten Hag and Manchester United going forward. He's definitely under pressure. There was a meeting taking place earlier, but it wasn't related to his future. But who knows, if the results don't improve, then he might be under even more pressure. And Ruud van Nistelrooy, his assistant, is already there, and he might take over as the interim head coach at Manchester United. Another one is Steve Cooper at Leicester City. Now, Leicester City, at the 7th time of asking, recorded their first win since being back in the Premier League. But Steve Cooper has history with Nottingham Forest. He's sort of a legend at Nottingham Forest, getting them promoted into the Premier League after more than 20 years, although he was eventually sacked. But that happens with every manager. And but his past with Nottingham Forest hasn't gone down well with Leicester fans, and up until recently he was under tremendous pressure at Foxes. And Steve Cooper knows that he needs to get the results as soon as possible to make sure that his job in East Midlands remains safe. So he's another one under pressure. And otherwise, with Foxes, he could always say that it was sour grapes. But Steve Cooper and Leicester have their other issues as well, with PSR, and players issues as well, with Abdul Fatawu not getting the game time that Leicester fans think their player deserves. So we'll keep a keen eye out on Steve Cooper and his situation with Leicester City. Up next, Sean Dyche of Everton. Yes, he's a bit of a legend at Everton. He has kept Everton in the league over the last two seasons, but this season Everton sold Amadou Onana. They did bring in a few players like Jesper Lindstrom and Ilman Ndiaye, but the results until recently haven't been good. Yes, in the last 2 games they have won one, drawn one, but the situation, and pardon the pun, is kind of sticky for Sean Dyche. Fans are not happy with his playing style, and some of the players that he's employing. Maybe Ashley Young is one, and another situation that will definitely not help Sean Dyche and his situation is the takeover one. Everton are waiting for the takeover to the Friedkin Group, and we know mostly when a takeover takes place at a new club, the new owners, they do try to bring then their own players. So if Sean Dyche wants to continue at Everton, and why wouldn't he? So he would have to improve, the results at Everton and Goodison Park in very short term. So we'll watch out for his situation. What happens up next? Russell Martin. I mean, Russell Martin, he did really well with Southampton, bringing them back in the Premier League at the first time of asking via the playoff route. But the way they have been playing, the way they have been leaking goals, the way they have struggled to score is a big concern. I mean, why are they hell bent on playing out from the back? I mean, they have cost them a lot of goals defensively by playing out from the back, and the fact that they can't score is only compounding the situation. Russell Martin, I know he did really well with the Saints, but uh, but defensively and in terms of attack, maybe players aren't good enough. But he needs to compromise on a few things, because Premier League isn't Championship. I used to think that you shouldn't compromise on your principles, but you should cut your cloth according to the quote, or however the saying goes. And if things don't improve, Southampton know that financially it is not viable to keep. It's not viable to keep Russell Martin. So things need to improve. Need to improve. Last but certainly not under the least amount of pressure is Gary O'Neill. Wolves, who did really decently sort of last season. They were in the league, but they have been selling players who are experienced, have experience of the Premier League, and bringing in unknown players. I mean, like I had heard of Andrade, Mosquera, Totti Gomes. So, I mean, they are under pressure. Gary O'Neill did really well with Bournemouth prior to Wolves, and even last season, as I said, he did really well. But things don't. I mean, they don't look good. Wolves have had some tough fixtures as well. They played Chelsea, they played Liverpool, and up next for them it's Manchester City. So it's never easy. Wolves have played Arsenal as well. So fixtures will probably get slightly easier, but Wolves need to improve their playing style as well. And if they don't, Gary O'Neill will walk the plank. So these were my five managers who are currently under pressure in the Premier League. Let me know if I have missed out on someone, or have included someone who you don't think is particularly under any great pressure.